Welcome to Dead Cell number 7, the FPV drone and other RC podcast, but we keep forgetting to talk about other things RC except for crawlers. But this is legit episode 7. Now, last episode, I called it the wrong name. I keep calling them the wrong numbers because I don't know. But I counted before we started this episode. I'll have you know, I counted the fucking number, and this is legit episode 7. So congrats, Graham, for doing 7 episodes and not quitting yet.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's finally.
Yeah, how does that feel? 7 episodes.
7. It feels like
7.
It feels like just yesterday that we recorded episode 6.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It feels like just last week. Just feels just like, if y'all haven't caught on yet, we do a new episode every single Tuesday. We usually record on Tuesdays and we drop the episodes on Tuesdays. So tune in every Tuesday, iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube to listen to this god-awful podcast that we're trying to make.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Hopefully one day it
or
will
don't,
be...
or go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I don't care. All right, so the first thing I think we should discuss is the micro drones. You want to talk about micro drones? I think
Sure.
I want to
start. Great way to start in FPV.
Yeah. So exactly. So we're going to talk about micro drones. And this is going to make sense because it's going to transition into the next topic. So the micro drones, tiny whoops, 65 millimeter tiny, 65 millimeter tiny whoops, 75 millimeter tiny whoops, 3-inch toothpicks. Huh?
Don't forget 85. Don't forget 85 millimeter.
85. That's what I have.
Is that the preferred racing size, or is it 75?
The racing does 65, like the 1S.
No, racers... 2S. They're on that 2S fucking train from what I've seen. So they do like either 75 or 85 mils.
Maybe some racing, but I know that our multi-GP did a lot of 1S races.
Okay, gotcha. So, and that's 65 because, yeah, 1S.
But you could... I beefed the fuck out of my 65 millimeter. So I originally had just like tiny whoop 19,000 kV motors. I feel like I'm repeating myself. If I've said this before, you guys can, and anyone remembers, just let me know. But I upgraded my motors to a higher kV, and they did really well, but I was sagging really bad. So I ordered a bunch of the BT 2.0 connectors and replaced them on all my batteries. Mm-hmm. And it's insane how much better it is.
Oh, really? I didn't realize the pH?
Yeah. I didn't understand how crazy it was going to be, because
that noticeable, huh?
When I was flying the 1S, whoop with the pH connector, it would sag to like, and I'd still be able to fly for a while, but it would sag to like 3.2, 3.1. Right. But now with these, it sags to like a normal like 3.6. So there's it's a noticeable difference, and also it feels like I have more punch and my battery is like performing better overall. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just changing the adapter. So I find it interesting though. Instead of just ordering some BT 2.0 batteries, you swapped out your fucking old G&Bs and put BT things on.
But I only had 10 batteries. I have 10 GNB batteries. I actually destroyed one in the process because I broke the lead off, and I can't solder this little thing. So maybe I'll just like see what happens here.
Oof, that dab helps. I am higher than Joe Rogan's therapy bill.
You ready?
What's going to happen? So those you can't see at home, he's jiggling a battery around for some reason. Is that smoke? Yeah, I just saw smoke on that. Oh, you're gonna die, dude. He's dead. Oh my god, for Spotify and iTunes listeners, he just jiggled around the wires on a 1S and it exploded. I didn't know they could explode with such a force.
I'm dead now.
Damn, this fool's dead. That's crazy. Now he's a ghost.
Yeah.
Damn,
so
bro.
I did replace the connectors. But I am from now on going to be purchasing the BT 2.0 batteries only.
All right, so here's your first piece of advice that we agree on.
Yeah.
BT 2.0. If you're buying a whoop to start off an FPV, skip the pH connector. That's like the weird white one with the fucking dick vein on it. you want to go to the BT 2.0, which is going to be like an XC60, flat on one side, rounded on the other. You like that dick vein joke? I noticed that. Yeah, that was humorous, but let's try to keep it together here, bro. Let's just try to fucking present the facts as they are and let everybody else decide what's funny or not. So step one, if you're new to FPV, get a tiny whoop. Because for real, I say get a whoop because it's a lot easier to fly around, has a lot less weight, so you're less likely to catastrophically break a bunch of shit. I don't want to say it's easier to replace. It's cheaper, but like soldering whoop stuff kind of fucking sucks if you got bad eyes like me. But it is a better way, a cheaper way to start in FPV. And if you're going to go that route, get the BT 2.0. Don't use the old school fucking dick veins. They suck.
Yeah. So with the tiny whoops, you can opt into the bind and flies. But if you feel like you're one of those people that just has to build shit and has to tinker, you can buy all-in-one boards that have everything, so you don't have to solder anything. Like Happy Model makes. Yeah, you won't
like camera.
No, the cameras have plugs. And that's the thing too. Make sure. All right, so that's another thing too. If you're like, I want to build a tiny whoop, make sure that you don't want to. If you don't want to solder, but you want to build a tiny whoop, make sure you get a flight controller that has motor connectors, and those are a Pico blade something or whatever connectors. I forget. Actually, I have some of those.
Yeah, the white connectors on the bottom of the flight controller.
Yeah, but they're different size than like a actual JST. But then
JST has like 30 fucking sizes, man. JST is one of the most confusing things to buy shit for.
But there's
never buy it on eBay. You'll get your wrong size.
There's numbers that you can look up, but there's the standard size, and the camera size inside the flight controller is a normal JST that you would have for like a motor ESC or a motor ESC connector on your fucking whatever it's called, regular drone. And also make sure that it has a VTX and ELRS in it, or whatever protocol you use, but preferably ELRS, just because it's, it really is the best radio protocol right now.
Yeah, it's becoming the standard very quickly, which is pretty cool to see.
And the best part about ELRS that is its open sourceness, so anyone can just build it. So then therefore it's just having one standard radio protocol just seems to make more sense, because we have standards for pretty much everything else. But that's a tangent that we'll go on later. So the first thing used to be first thing, so with the tiny whoop build, just make sure you have the right cables. Like buy like tiny whoop nano camera that has those have like a cable coming out of it that'll plug right into the flight controller. You don't have to solder anything.
That's handy as shit.
Yeah. So, and it's the Runcam Nano 4. And if you get that from Tiny Whoop's website, they have one that has the cable that plugs into it. So you can just
that's for analog, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah. Analog. I mean, if you want to run digital on a Tiny Whoop, you really only have two options. You either run Walk Snail or HD0.
Yeah.
So
still no DJI. Like, how long has DJI been around for FPV, and they still have not made a whoop board for everybody? The fuck out of here, man.
The best thing that they
very easily could have.
The best thing we have right now is that Beta FPV frame that will hold a air unit.
I haven't seen that. Don't care.
Yeah. So that's about it.
So if you run DJI, you're kind of fucked as far as tiny whoops go. You should probably just get analog or HD0 or Walk Snail, so you can enjoy the gift of whoops. Whoops are very fun. The FPV gods gave us these tiny crafts to enjoy. Jesse Perkins, Newbie Drone, and a few people, fucking We Bleed FPV and them, accelerated the growth of the technology. So now we have some like pretty goddamn good flying tiny whoops. They fly pretty damn well now. As somebody who, I saw the world's first tiny whoop building dive. I saw a lot of firsts for tiny whoops. We used to dream of the day we would have HD tiny whoops, and now we have 3 different options that you can have. It's pretty fucking cool. It's pretty awesome to see. And the fact that they fly so much better nowadays is pretty awesome.
Yeah, dude. I have
they used to fly like garbage.
Yeah. I love it. I mean, I'm turning into like a micro person now. I didn't think I would, because I love flying 5 inches, but sometimes I just don't even want to leave and do anything. So I'll just go in my backyard, just fly it in my house. My dog fucking hates
get that
it,
fix.
Yeah, I got to get that fixed. Yeah. And I don't want to leave my house and go find a place to fly. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm. I used to
um,
have a permanent track set up in my house before I met my girlfriend when I just lived by myself. I had fucking gates all around my living room and kitchen. Like I have a small house. It's a row home, you know, you go straight back. It's like fucking 800 square feet, but I had a whole bunch of gates. And then me and my buddies, they'd come over and we'd tiny whoop race and we had time trials. And I still have like some of the times written down on my wall. Just like whoever the fastest lap, you know, we write their name and the time. And that was super fucking fun. And you can do that shit with tiny whoops like anywhere you want, you know. Like this July 29th, I'm doing the Philadelphia meetup, right? You coming to that? You coming to the Philly meetup?
yeah.
July 29th. So at night, around like 8 p.m., we're doing a tiny whoop jam sesh. And that's the same thing. We're just going to set up a bunch of gates and fly around and have fun. Something you can do with tiny whoops.
Yeah. It's sick. Tiny whoops are
Very
the,
beginner friendly.
yeah. So, but ultimately, I think for tiny whoops, the best bet is just to buy something, bind and fly. And
I
then
agree.
most of the bind and flies, though, have really low KV motors. So make sure that 25,000 KV and higher are the best, I think, for like a 1S. Anything
I have
above
no
20.
opinion on that. I don't know about that shit, but I will say that's accurate. Bind and flies are underpowered.
Yeah. So like if you just put you just replace the motors. And I think some of the best motors, Tiny Whoop has some good motors, but they seem to always be out of stock. And
Mm-hmm.
then
We Bleed FPV has some fantastic motors. The
apparently
Gore
repeat
series.
and even those Hypertrain BB Bubby motors, the A0802s are pretty good. So you got options or whatever. So
Well, I'm just saying, I was shaking my head, yes, but I don't know anything about them. So
yeah, well they're good. They're the thing is like all the shit is the same
yeah,
for the
yeah.
Tiny
It's
Whoop
all
motors.
there's three fucking factories. There's one tiny whoop. There's one factory that makes them. You know what I mean? Like not literally, but I'm sure it's under five. I'm
Well, the
sure
thing
there's
is,
under five factories in Shenzhen that make tiny whoop motors.
so what I learned is that there may be only three factories that produce them, but that doesn't mean that it's the same. It's basically
Right,
like you can have the same kitchen make the same food, but if you have three different chefs in the kitchen, it's going to be different. So
right. I'm
like
saying you're gonna have the same fucking dough and the same fucking sauce, though. Is what I'm
yeah,
saying. Like
but
materials wise and shit. You know, there's gonna be better materials and lesser materials as far as cost and everything.
yeah, so the more
But
so what I found is that a lot of the like better, higher, more expensive motors just have better engineering and QA that go into them. So you
they
have
paid
like
for.
yeah, exactly paid for, and that's sort of where that is. But you know, like I think there was a video a long time ago Steele mentioned. There was a Steele video where he was talking about that in these factories there's like three buckets. I don't know how he exactly explained it. There's like A, B, and C. You know, A is
Mm-hmm.
like the best shit. Then B is like the shit that's like, it's not so good. Then C is just the garbage. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like you make a Foxy or VTX, and it's like, oh, this one's not as good, so we're gonna sell it to uh and
Get FPV.
Chinese English word name generator company B is gonna sell this one, and then like you know what I mean. So that's
Right.
sort
And then
of
you maybe don't do as much QC testing on batch B or whatever.
yeah
Maybe batch A, the premium one, you quality control test every one. Batch B, maybe QC every 10 that come through the line.
yeah
And then just tell the customer they soldered wrong when they get a
yeah
DOA unit. Yeah.
yeah. So that's what happens when you buy from like a company like you know Sky Stars or whatever. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. I don't know shit about
Crazy
Sky Stars.
Dolphin.
I just like Crazy Dolphin.
Crazy Dolphin's legit though, dude. They're up and coming. Look out for Crazy Dolphin.
Is that a real name?
Fuck
Did you
no.
just
I
make that
mean, it
up?
will be. It will be
It
in
will be.
3 months.
We'll make yeah. Um, the funniest shit too
No,
about
that's our battery. People want our battery. Sorry to interrupt you, but real
oh
quick,
yeah
people want our batteries. Did you see those comments?
yes I know
Last episode we talked about we want to make some little Whoop batteries or something, and people are pretty hype on those, so we might have to do that.
yeah. Someone recommended something, but we'll have to find. You know Jesse Perkins though. Why don't you just ask him?
I do. Well,
They
where
make
he gets his battery?
yeah they have solid batteries.
Yeah,
Just see if he'll help us like make some, and then he could just take a cut or whatever.
yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
I would love to do that because I don't care that much about making money on them. I would just like to make a good battery with our
Like if we
logo.
can make like
$1,
or if we can make like $1 or 50 cents per battery, that's fine or whatever. You know what I mean? Like whatever. Something just to help with the show.
Yeah, definitely to pay for these programs and shit that we're pirating. Definitely,
Yes.
it'll help with that. Not just that was a joke. That was we pay for everything. Everything's fucking legal.
Yeah.
So,
except for this is like somehow it's like just giving me a free version for a year, so without paying for it. But I didn't do that.
Not after this. Not after you said that out loud. So for new FPV pilots, we both recommend, I would say, right, starting with something small, lightweight to learn how to fucking sticks work. Get on a sim. A sim is going to help. Get a good radio when you're starting off and you got to spend. You have a limited budget. I'd say definitely get a good radio with that. If you have to pick something to spend the more money, you know what I mean. If you pick something to buy a good radio. Maybe buy some used goggles and shit, and like a buy and fly $100 fucking whoop to start. But the radio you're going to use like the majority of your career. Goggles too, but if you only had to pick one, I would say get a good radio because shitty sticks feel shitty, and you won't progress as a pilot with shitty gimbals. You'll fly sketchy as shit.
What I think you should, I think that any new pilot should do. Now, there's two options that I have here. Okay, if you have the opportunity, right? If this is something that you have the opportunity to do this. If you know somebody who does FPV, and they're serious about it, and they have a tiny whoop, get in a simulator for like a couple of hours or whatever, learn how to fly it, and then ask them to fly their tiny whoop to see if you like it. Because if you think you're going to like it for the long term, then I would just suggest right off the rip, picking a system that you want to do video, and then a really nice controller, and spending the $900 or whatever it's going to cost to get that stuff, that initial like equipment. Because what you don't want to do is buy like $150 box goggles because they're cheaper because you just spent all this money on a 5-inch drone, or a cheaper radio because it's just cheaper, and then you realize 6 months
you can't really get away from goggles.
Yeah, and then 6 months down the road, you're like, fuck, now I have these shitty goggles and this shitty radio, and I know that I need to buy new shit. So just buy the good shit up front. And whatever that is, I can't tell you what that is. But that would be my recommendation. But if you don't know somebody who doesn't fly FPV, get in the simulator, and then I don't know. It's really difficult because I don't want, because what I did is I bought shit that I didn't need to buy, and I wish I would have just bought good shit right up front. I own 4 sets of goggles, just to put it into perspective. So like, but like, and I would just start digital. Pick a digital system. Don't start analog. I would just find a digital system and just go for it, because you can buy, like, let's say you want to do HD0. I think the HD0 is the best system because the goggles allow you to attach basically anything to it. So Walk Snail is catching up with DJI pretty quickly, and you can get a Walk Snail VRX on your HD0 goggles and have 2 systems there.
Analog module
and analog too, so you're set. So
3 systems in one.
And that's kind of why I don't really recommend DJI for anybody, because DJI is kind of like buying a very proprietary type of system. It's like buying
like Mac.
Yeah, it's like buying a Mac, or buying or more so buying a gaming PC that's already pre-built. But you can upgrade those, but you're paying more. Yeah, you can upgrade those, but you can. But why would you do that when you could just?
The analogy is like ecosystem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's all proprietary stuff. DJI, you're not going to be able. You can't, like HD0. You can plug an HDMI cord into it and then plug that into an HDMI monitor and show somebody your video. You can't do that with DJI. You have to buy their $1,000 monitor, their $1,000 proprietary monitor to be able to do something that simple.
You can use your phone or an iPad. You can use your phone, iPad, or an Android tablet.
That's not an HDMI. That's not an HDMI monitor, though. I'm talking about an HDMI monitor, just a monitor, a TV.
Yeah, but either way, you can have
a computer. Yes, I'm talking about a monitor, a TV,
Yeah, you
just a
can't do a
simple
monitor. No.
fucking little device. You can't do that. Yeah, you
You
have
can't
to
get video out
buy
now. Yeah.
their monitor.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Or
That's on
use their app.
purpose.
Yeah, it is on purpose, and it's stupid because, and the only way to do analog on DJI is to have the V2 goggles, which are basically almost obsolete at this point. And then you have to do
You
some
can't
like,
wait. You can only do it on the V2 goggles.
I don't think I don't know. Someone's gonna correct me, but I don't think the goggles 2 have a way to plug in odd video. Wait,
What
hold on.
about the original goggles?
Goggles to DJI.
That'd be super rude if so.
The new ones that are like really small.
Yeah.
Video.
That's going to alienate a lot of people because
Input.
people want to fly tiny whoops and micros, and DJI refuses to build a tiny whoop VTX. Like, it can be done. Walksnail did it. Why the fuck can't DJI do it? God bless Walksnail for that too, man. I may not run Walksnail or care for it, but I'm stoked with what they're doing. Like, I fuck with Cadix, Speedy Bead, fucking Runcam, whatever. All right, those ones aren't together. I think it's just Cadix and Walksnail, but all the reps have been cool to me. They've been in FPV for a while and have a pretty decent track record from what I've seen.
I don't think the DJI goggles 2, the newest edition of the DJI goggles, support an input, a video input.
They also fog up pretty bad from what I've seen.
So the thing is that, here's the thing. If you want to fly micros and fly a larger drone, then you're going to and you want to fly DJI on the larger drones, and you're going to have another system for your smaller drones. Analog.
Yeah, fuck that.
So at that point, the versatility of just having, and I ran DJI for a while. I have DJI goggles right now that I use for like a 03 on a 7-inch. I'll eventually be switching. I just haven't really thought about it yet. But that's just another thing that you have to have when you could, just have one set of goggles to do everything. That's what I would recommend. But if you don't care and you're like, I'm only going to fly, 3.5 inch and 5 inch, then yeah, that's fine. You can run whatever it's called.
DJI.
Yeah. But you won't be able to run really anything smaller than that. So, because the 03 air unit really doesn't fit on shit.
They don't fit in shit. It fits in the Grinderino, though. Speaking of small frames, the Grinderino will be out, I think, by the time this episode drops. Yeah, it will be. Grinderino fits 03, no problem.
Yeah, so
watching my print. About to lift off the bed and ruin 2 hours worth of work, I think. We'll find out later.
What happened?
Got my printer is just peeling off the bed. I didn't do a brim, so it's peeling off the corner of it, doing some shit for a video. But
man,
we'll see that. You all see what this is about soon enough.
What did you print?
That thing's wiggling. Fuck. Mount for my instant camera.
Oh, okay.
Fuck, it's gonna wiggle.
You got an Instant 360?
Yeah.
Did you get the new one?
No. They don't send me shit anymore because I didn't fucking pimp them out enough. They'll send you free shit until you don't make 10 videos on the product and pimp their stupid links. I mean, they were cool. I like Instant 360. I appreciate them hooking me up with free shit, but I didn't spam their affiliate links enough for their liking, so now they don't send me anything anymore.
You got to make the big old Casey Neistat video for that,
I was surprised he did that. I was like, wow, this is just a glorified tech review. I think I even left that comment on the video. I was like, this is just a glorified tech review affiliate link video.
It's just a commercial.
Tons of people. It was. That was kind of crazy. But
I
understand, sense. If he likes to make videos and he can't think of anything to make a video on, and he's like, well, I could make, $50,000, $100,000 in affiliate links if I make this video. Do that and fucking go surfing or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, he does make commercial video for a living.
If he
did. Yeah. So,
however, if he would ever do any serious project, I highly doubt he would grab an Insta360 Go and use that in the project. You know what I mean?
People use GoPros and shit for high end stuff now.
No, for sure. I've seen that, but I don't know. Unless this camera is a lot better than it used to be.
Well, I'm just saying from the aspect of him making a commercial for them and putting it on his channel is not really different than what he does for a living. So he just made a commercial.
True. He wasn't the director. He did everything. He was the actor and director. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know if I want to put commercials on my YouTube channel ever. I don't know. I guess I'll get to that point with if I see. It depends on how many zeros I see. You know what I mean?
So in FPV, when you do reviews, you make $0. You just get an affiliate link and a free product and shit. I don't really care about affiliate links, so I usually don't use them. I don't even really use HD01 even in those fucking videos, and I love HD0, but I just get a free product, so I'll say no to a lot of reviews. Unless it is something that has HD0 and ELRS in it, then I'll say yes, because I just want to take the fucking VTX and receiver out of it and have that shit, and then I give away the rest of it. But on my second channel, that's where I started doing all my review shit. Like, that's where I did my Speedy B, whatever, drone review. I got another one coming up, HD0 Wi-Fi module and HD0 200 milliwatt Race 3 VTX. I'm going to be filming that video in another week or so. Late to the game on that, but I want to put it on my second channel.
That Race I want to VTX is how many milliwatts?
I don't know. I was assuming 200.
Yeah, it's 200.
I don't know.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Ryan Q did a review on it. I don't know if Gal Kremer did. Somebody else did one. I watched Ryan Q. Somebody else did a review on it though, but I was gonna make one just to make one to be informational. Informational.
Yeah, you gotta inform everyone.
To be informal, yeah.
Yeah, to inform. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Radios.
We're talking about the newbie shit. Yeah.
Yeah. What else? We did. You should buy a micro. You should buy a tiny whoop. You should get in the sim. You should buy a nice radio and nice goggles. But what's a nice radio, Grim?
Exactly. So I think now this is all up to preference. So when I started, actually it's crazy because what is it? July 12th, around a year ago, roughly, sometime in July last year is when I bought all my FPV shit. My first FPV, my first 5-inch drone, which, there is, okay. So in Columbus, Ohio, there's the Ready Made RC who owns Strix.
Mm-hmm.
That company, they sell mostly fixed wings and plane shit now.
They used to make a little tiny whoop. There's a little, I believe, Strix tiny whoop back in the day.
Yeah, so they don't really do that a lot anymore. I've talked to the guy several times who owns that place, and he just seems to be more into planes. And he always said like quad stuff changes so fast, and it's just not worth to keep up with it. But they have some stuff sense. Like they're basically an Emacs distributor, Emacs reseller, and Hobby Wing authorized dealer. But either way, so I bought a bunch of quad shit from them when I first started because I could drive and pick it up. It's like 20-minute drive or whatever. So I bought most of the shit, except for I didn't put like video stuff in it because I didn't really understand FPV. I just needed a drone. I just needed to build a drone. But either way, I bought all that stuff about a year ago, and I bought a Tyrannus QX7. The one that's newer, that has that new protocol because they changed protocols. Access,
I don't remember. FR Sky.
Yeah, FR Sky, and so I got that, and then I got an RX, whatever the good receiver they had was, RXS, whatever, I don't know.
XM Plus.
I don't remember what it was. It was the one that Joshua Barbell always said was really good, and then it was that, and then I had the radio, the QX7. I don't know, it was like $120. And if I would have known now what I know now, I would have not done that. I would have bought probably a Tango, possibly, or like a Radio Master something. But I don't even know what Radio Master had a year ago. Did they have the Zorro a year ago?
Yeah, I believe so, a year ago. But it's funny, my first radio was a Radio Master A1 or some shit. It was a clone of an FR Sky radio. There's a lot of people, OGs will remember this, but Radio Master used to not be like the Boxer or the Zorro. They used to just clone FR Sky radios, like direct copies, direct clones. So my very first radio I ever had, my first radio was an FL Sky piece of shit, but the first one I bought, it was $100. It was a Radio Master A1, I believe. I'm trying to find a picture of it. But then they started making all the other fucking like their own style. Well, then they started cloning like Tango 2s and Mambas and shit and whatever. But another cloner company getting big.
Yeah, so I would have bought like a Radio Master or something. I have a Zorro now, but I then decided to buy another radio. So I bought a Radio Master TX16,
Hmm.
and it was just so big, and I didn't really understand the. And I was like, "This is so big. Is this how radios have to be?"
It's like that if
Uh,
you're flying airplanes in 1974, yeah.
and so, but racers like it too because they just go to one place and just sit down for like 12 hours and then they go home. So it doesn't
Yeah,
really
like
matter how big their radio is.
operate that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, like they don't go out and like move around. They're not like traveling to like different places all the time. So having a smaller radio isn't always doesn't matter. But some guys
Get
I know
more
that
than a
race.
backpack.
Yeah. So then ultimately I ended up with the Zorro, and then I put the AGO1 gimbals in it, and it's suited me really well, and I would recommend it if I was starting out. The Zorro or even the Tango 2. It's just whatever you pick. Don't do an FR Scout radio.
Nah, definitely not. Definitely not. I will
No.
say I am a lot smoother on the Tango 2 than I am on the Zorro. The Zorro, I just can't get the sticks to where I like them. It's so squirrely. It's just so squirrely for me. And then the Tango 2, I can just lock my quad in at any angle. And I do have my sticks on the Tango 2 tightened a little extra than stock, not too much. But if you're finding yourself like your flying isn't smooth like you see on the TV, if you feel like you're squirrely and moving all over the place, your gimbals are probably way too loose, or your fucking expo isn't set. I would try a Tango 2, honestly. That would help, or something equivalent with
Mhm.
gimbals that you can tighten and loosen a lot more dynamically. Is that a word? Than the Zorro.
Now, one thing to keep in mind too, if you're gonna buy like a Tango 2, that does not come with ELRS, and
Right.
it comes with Crossfire, which
Hmm.
running Crossfire is fine. It's a fine protocol if you want to run it, but ELRS is the future, in my
So
opinion.
Crossfire is 900
Yeah,
millihertz. Is that
yeah,
900 millihertz? And ELRS
megahertz,
is megahertz.
2.4, 2.4.
Is 2.4. So that's the
Yeah,
difference there. So your long range stuff, your R9, your first Sky R9, which is whatever. Your ELRS 900 whatever the fuck it is, and then Crossfire. Those are all the same, and then ELRS is 5.8 as well as Tracer, and I think
those
that's
are
it.
2.8.
Or 2.8. What did I say? 2.4, not
Yeah,
5.8. They're 2.4.
it's okay. So 868 for Crossfire, and I think that I don't know
That's European or whatever.
yeah, I
America,
thought
it's
that.
900.
No, okay. I thought that the higher frequencies were more had better range, right?
Right. The
So
higher the number,
Crossfire
the better the range.
so Crossfire technically has better range, but ELRS has really good range, like comparable
Yeah,
range.
just it's a different, it's however their little fucking computer and shit works, which I
Yeah,
don't
all the
understand at all.
a lot of with ELRS though is that there's that low rush shit in it, like the Wi-Fi. I don't know a lot about it. I haven't done a lot of digging into it. I
Me
just did
either.
what the people
It's
told me.
basically magic to me. I'm just like amazed that I can fly 8 kilometers out on this shit.
Yeah, so the benefit with the ELRS too is the lower the number, the less the latency is it's a little faster responsive. Like 2.4 is going to be more responsive. That's why a lot of people chose
Oh, yeah.
Tracer. That's why
Right,
like
right,
Tracer was
right.
really popular, and Ghost, because the
Hmm.
2.4
Ghost is the other
gigahertz.
one. I forgot
Yeah,
Ghost. Ghost
Ghost.
is the
Yeah.
other one. Jesus,
So
how did I
like
forget Ghost?
so guys like Steel and Phantom, they fly like Steel flies Tracer, and then Phantom flies Ghost, I think. And those guys are just like really fast. So I think that
Hmm.
that's 2.4 is really conducive for that. And then I fly ELRS and you fly ELRS because
Hmm.
I
It
like it
just
because I
feels so
like
good.
yeah, I like open source stuff. Like anything that I think is like open source, I think it's going to be a better option because it opens the doors for anybody to be able to make the product,
Yep.
to make
Yeah,
the
and
and they're
that's why you see your $7 receivers and shit, which isn't
yeah.
always a good thing, but sometimes they work just fine, and that's good to have that option.
But the baseline price for a receiver, like like a Crossfire receiver, is $25. But then
Mm. Wow,
a
that's cheap now. They used to be like 40.
yeah, but a ELRS receiver is like
I
$15.
pay 17, I think, from race day for the beta FPV ones, which I don't recommend the beta FPV ones, but sometimes that's all that's in stock. I try to
Either
get the
the
Happy model ones when I can.
either Happy Model or Radio Master, I would say either one of those are good.
I'd agree. I'd agree.
Um,
ELRS all day. Crossfire is proven. It's been around for a while. It feels good. Tracer is super fast. When I went from Crossfire to Tracer, I noticed a difference. I was like, I made a couple of videos about it, and I was like, this is a noticeably faster system. But I was having issues fail-safing on Tracer, so then I went back to Crossfire, and then I ultimately moved to ELRS when that came out. And ELRS came out at a time when I was getting a little burnt out on FPV. I'd been using the same fucking everything, just doing the same shit, flying the same spots, and I needed a fucking change. So ELRS came out and I was like, let me try this. And it felt good. So I was like, sick, dude. And I switched all my quads over to ELRS. I bought all the modules and shit. I fucking did all the little Tango 2 stuff. And it kind of renewed my passion almost for FPV again, like at a time when I was getting burnt out. So that was super cool, having something to nerd out again that I was excited about in FPV.
no, but but I would say that as a new pilot, if you're new, the best I would say Steel has a video series. It's like 4 years old on like, and it's still like most of the information is still relevant, right? So like it's with anything with technology, right? What he's talking about is relevant. Like most of the stuff is the same, but the things that he's talking about in there, like the radio, like get this, don't listen to that stuff. Try to get newer stuff in regards to what's good. And I mean, I've heard him tell people to just get DJI, which I would not recommend just
Yeah.
because of the closed part of it, the closed system.
You have
But
to register. You have to register your VTXs before you can use them for DJI.
yeah,
I
you gotta
think
like
that is
you
so
gotta activate
invasive,
them.
man.
Yeah,
That
you gotta
you have to
activate them.
register them. You have to
Yeah.
register. You have to put in an email, a name, a phone number, an address. Sure, you can use fake stuff. That's activation.
Yeah.
Call it what it is. It's a registration. You know what I mean?
No,
It's
you do.
putting your
Yeah,
information in
you do.
before it'll activate. Before you can use it. That is highly. Why would you ever need to do that?
They want you. They want your data.
They want that data. They want that motherfucking data. Exactly. That's just too much for me, man.
Yeah. So, and I like HD0 because you just turn it on. It's just open broadcast.
Yeah. Anybody.
So
can
like
look
if
at
you're
it.
flying with someone who has HD0, they can just watch you with there's no like issues. So
let's.
like
You want to wrap
analog.
up? You want to wrap up the radio section and move on to goggles for noobs?
Yeah, I'm
So
good.
radios,
Radios.
the Zoro's good beginner radio for sure. The Boxer, great beginner radio for sure. I love the Tango 2. If you're planning on running ELRS, the Tango 2 might not be the best choice. I personally just love how it feels in the hands. I love the gimbals and everything. A lot of people are happy with the Zoro. A lot of people are happy with the Boxer. Stay away from the bigger airplane style radios, the TX16, things like that. That's an older style radio meant for airplanes that for some reason people are using or selling for drones. You really want something a little bit smaller, especially for freestyle, long range, and cinematic. Do whatever you want. But if you're after freestyle, look for a more gamepad style controller. If not, a Boxer would probably be good for you. I think that's it for radios for me. ELRS and a smaller radio for freestyle.
Yep, I got a big ass TX16, 4-in-1. Yeah. Also, don't buy 4-in-1s. Just buy ELRS one.
Yeah,
If you're gonna get a Radio
ELRS.
Master, just get ELRS because none of those protocols. All the protocols in there, like there's like a Spectrum protocol, there's a FR Sky protocol,
Spectrum.
there's some other random ass. Yeah, don't. So if you go and you look up like FPV drone stuff and results from like Horizon Hobby pop up, you're gonna see a bunch of Spectrum bullshit. Don't buy Spectrum shit for
the most
FPV.
fail-safing radio system I've ever seen. I've been doing FPV for 7 years. Spectrum is the most fail-safe and ass system I've ever seen. No range at all.
Yeah, it's just it's bullshit. Don't use it. It's
old RC car stuff.
Yeah,
where you don't really have range.
It's weird. Like the thing is, they make everything.
Yeah.
So then goggles. I mean, we covered goggles. I basically just said just get HD0 goggles if you can get them. Don't get DJI.
I guess so. If you're starting out, DJI might be enticing, but in the long run, it's gonna be a bunch of bullshit. We did do goggles.
Yeah.
Goggles, radio. What was it? What did we miss? Tiny whoops.
Okay. So some people like DJI is the best because of blah blah blah, and like you can't even notice the latency or whatever. Okay, I'm not talking about latency. I don't even want to talk about latency or any of that because it doesn't matter. because everyone's going to have some different opinion about it because everyone's brain works differently. Not
Right.
everyone is going to notice everything.
And some
So
people super
yeah,
violently defend their purchases too.
yeah,
You gotta
okay. So
remember
like,
that.
but when it comes to DJI, from strictly like a consumer product perspective, you're locking yourself into a closed system that has no flexibility for other external systems. Like DJI goggles, you cannot put walk snail on DJI goggles. You can't even put HD0 VRX on DJI goggles. And if DJI would just make an external VRX, they would solve every problem.
Or a
Like,
tiny whoop VTX or a tiny whoop VTX. So because the only
yeah,
reason anybody would need goggles that likes DJI
no,
other than that is for a tiny whoop because you can't
yep,
fly whoops with that shit.
yeah. So if they don't do that
Just make a
soon,
tiny whoop.
yeah. So
You know what they would do though? They would make like a small Avata or something. They wouldn't just make a tiny whoop VTX. They'd make a whole ass little fucking drone with that board like tucked inside of it with a bunch of proprietary shit, so you couldn't
it
even
costs
take it out.
$500.
Yeah, and cost $500. That's DJI style. I guarantee you, DJI has a fucking $500 tiny whoop on the drawing board somewhere, just trying to figure
Yeah,
out how to milk that shit out of everybody.
yep. I mean, especially with like
Bullshit.
how popular tiny whoops are,
Yeah,
they have to have something
and
really
sub
small.
250 remote ID.
Yeah,
They're not they would be able to mass produce those without having remote ID requirements because it's sub 250.
yep.
Although I have a feeling DJI remote ID is going to be built in. It's not going to be a module you attach anywhere.
Oh, radios. Don't buy a DJI radio.
Yeah,
Don't
definitely do
fucking
not use
buy.
a DJI radio.
Do not.
If you fail safe under DJI radio, you lose video as well. If you lose video while you're flying, you also lose your radio link. They're combined. So say you're flying on a fucking roof, you know what I mean? And you lose your video, you won't be able to just punch up and away from the roof. Your quad is just going to go down on that roof. It's super sketchy. Like they did not think about that shit when they made it. Do not use a DJI radio. I'd really, I hate DJI and I try not to bring my biases into stuff for like newbies, but it just really is a bad system. It's not it's not community friendly. DJI is just out for themselves, and they're not going to be listening to the community and making y'all anything you want anytime soon.
Like the only thing that's good about it is the actual tech is good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the video system's not bad,
Got to give them that.
but again, you got to remember that it's just you're gonna lock yourself into something, and if you want to switch, you're gonna end up like me and have DJI stuff that you don't use because you realize that, oh, I want to fly analog but I don't want to carry around two sets of goggles,
Yeah.
And so
Fuck, I had something to say and I forgot now. I was probably just talking shit on DJI. I don't know.
I was kind of worried at first.
I remember. But you go
Yeah.
ahead. I'll keep it up.
I was worried about going from flying the O3 Air units because they look so good.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh man, I'm gonna go to HD0. It's not gonna look as good. And honestly, it doesn't really matter. I just kind of don't care anymore.
So that's exactly what I was going to say. I don't need ultra crispy, super HD fucking video because 30 seconds into a pack, you could be flying an analog laden dog shit, but you're just trying to fucking rip around. You know what I mean? Like you're going to notice bad video, but
Yeah.
if you have a really nice analog fucking signal and then DJI, 30 seconds later, your brain isn't going to fucking care. Once you're into ripping, you're just flying around. It doesn't matter if you can see every single little fucking brain. If you're just cruising around the park looking at shit, then maybe, yeah. Then, it'd be nice to have DJI, super ultra HD, not even reality looking at shit. But if you're, especially freestyle, it does not fucking matter, man. Like half the time a freestyle, our VTXs are so beat up, you're getting little fucking sparkles and shit. It's whatever.
Yeah, that's why I put DJI on my 7-inch because, if I'm doing long range or whatever, I can fly the O3 and it like looks really nice. And I can get that cool, like, video.
In drone footage or what?
Yeah. It also like doubles. Then I don't have to worry about like putting a GoPro on it too. So
losing a GoPro long range. That's what I thought O3 would be nice for if it can get the distance. But I watched you do 5 kilometers on yours. So that obviously can get some pretty good range.
I just need better. I think I need better antennas. I think I need better antennas on my goggles. But for what I had, just like these Lumineer patch antennas and then 2 little stubbies, fucking insane.
Not bad.
So, And I could have went further. I guess the max that it can do, there's like a max that it does, like, I don't know, 20 kilometers, something insane like that. I don't remember
Just like
what
the
it is.
DJI hard max.
Yeah, they have a hard stop just because of a latency, I think. So basically, the way DJI works is that, so the way that HD0 works is it sends a video transmission, and if it's missing like a part of the video or something, it still sends it. That's why you get the sparkles. Like those sparkles are just missing information. But
As
with
far
DJI,
as I understand, HD0 is a digital signal on an analog being broadcasted analog or whatever.
But more simply, it sends the video signal, and if it has all the video signal, you get it. If it doesn't, you get what you get, no matter what. But DJI is like, it sends the signal, right? But then it's like, oh, we're missing some data. Hold on a second. Let's wait a millisecond and then send a full signal. That's why the penetration is so good. Yeah, so that's why the penetration is so good, because then it takes a second and then it can send it. So it works a little harder. So it takes a little bit longer. So you can get that penetration. And I think I've explained this.
Technically, it doesn't have super good penetration. It just kind of fakes it.
Yeah,
It gives you the same image a couple times till it receives another good image, whereas analog HD0 will just not give you that frame. Or it'll I'm sorry, not give you the frame. It'll give you the frame, but missing the data. And then DJI just doesn't give you that frame.
Yeah, it just takes a second long. Yeah, so you have that like, and now you don't really notice it a lot. So the penetration is still kind of better, just due to like, if DJI says they're outputting 1 watt, they're definitely outputting way more than that.
Oh yeah,
like whatever they say they're outputting, it's like there is no O3 just outputs until it works as much. As
them shits. Fuck yeah, it's over. It's 2 watt. It's 2 to 3 for sure, man. Everything's fucking cook. They blast everything out. Any other system you plug in, DJI on 50 megabits or whatever, it's just gonna blow out any other fucking system. And HD0, mine anyway, gets blown out very easily too. Like, I have a super strong signal. This happened in Florida. I was flying and somebody plugged in, and then I just see like somebody's face looking at their quad on the bench, and I'm like, holy fuck, man. I was like away from them and everything. But
I remember that. I know who that was.
Yeah.
I remember that.
I mean, it was I crashed to the grass. It wasn't a big deal at all. Not like I haven't done that to 30 fucking people, but I was like, wow, HD0, like, come on, bro. But that's how it works. It holds on to the signal as long as it can, and then it just drops it. Unlike analog, that let's keep giving you a more degraded picture.
Dude, that was so and like, but I have noticed that the O3 plays way better with HD0 than the old system did.
Oh, really? That's nice. Maybe the signal's cleaner or something.
Yeah, all this, like, me and my friends fly together and they have O3s, and it's like no problem. And even analog. But also, what I noticed is the Foxier analog receiver gets no disruption. Like the Foxier Wildfire, it's no disruption.
It's really good.
It has no disruption from the DJI system. Like, you know, if you're flown with DJI and analog, and it's just you get those those lines.
The Wi-Fi.
So that doesn't happen at all in the Foxier. But I went to plug in the Sky Zone goggles I have, which have a similar diversity to the Rapid Fire, and you get the lines. So I think it's how Rapid Fire and Sky Zone and probably the TBS Fusion all handle the diversity, because Wildfire does something completely different.
So Wildfire is the old school diversity. It's one antenna or the other antenna. Whichever one's giving you the better signal is the signal you're going to get. And then the Rapid Fire and the Fusion have the mesh mode, where it takes both signals together and tries to mesh them into a good one. And that's caused rolling screens and all kinds of other issues. So I think it being the old school ass fucking type of module, that's why it helps. It's not trying to do anything fancy. It's just like, oh, this antenna, oh, this one's getting a little weak. Let's switch to this one, you know? I had great luck with my Wildfire. I had a really good video with it.
That shit did not clip in properly to my HD0 module, and it's like the module kind of broke, and then some of the pins broke on the HD0 module, but none of the pins that I need.
Yeah,
they got all bent and shit.
The Wildfire, I believe, wouldn't fit in Orcas either. The fan got in the way.
I have it taped right now just to keep it in there, and it's fine.
Oh my god!
So I just don't take it out.
My camera came unplugged, but we're good. It's still recording. Fuck yeah!
I kind of want to get one of the Wi-Fi modules, but I don't know. I don't really need it. So
I have. Oh wait, no. I was gonna say I have two of them, but I already promised the other one to Vampire. I plugged it in and couldn't get it working, but I gotta mess with it some more. I just did it real quick.
yeah, so basically just buy HD0 goggles if you're starting new.
I think so, man. I think they've been proven now to be pretty fucking good goggles. I'm rough on my gear, very rough, and I've had no issues with mine at all ever. You can do walk snail on them if you want. You can do fucking HD0. You can do analog. You can fly literally any craft except for DJI, but you gotta have DJI to do that shit. I think if you're starting off and you got the money, definitely, like I said, Boxer, Zorro, Tango 2, depending on what you want to fly. Get some HD0 goggles. They are like $600, but if you're gonna stick with FPV, this shit's fucking expensive, and it's a great investment that's gonna last you forever. My first goggles were Quantum V2s. They were literally like this fucking long, dude. They were the longest shits ever. Long ass goggles because you had to have the fucking screen all the way down there. There was no like magnifying nothings. I had those forever. And then I got some Fat Shark HD3s or some shit for like 250, and it changed my world. I was like, oh my god, this is so much nicer. It's so much nicer having like those style goggles than box goggles and shit. But I had them forever until I got my Orcas. But I got those for free.
Oh, those orcas. Did your orcas get fucked up from that thing?
The bug, I never
Yeah.
turned them on. They haven't been turned on since they got the HD0s.
Oh no.
I was gonna sell them to the homie, and I was like, whatever. I'm not gonna do the update. That's all on you. But he's kind of new to FPV, so I was like, fuck. I mean, it doesn't matter. He's a smart guy. He can figure it out. But I was like, okay, I'll update them and get rid of the bug, and then I'll sell them. But I think he's gonna buy some HD0s now.
The Orca goggles are sick. I was going to get them, but they were never in stock. So I got Sky Zones, which actually the Sky Zone goggles are pretty good
X4s?
too. Yeah, 04X or whatever. They're
I hear good things.
They're honestly just as good as the HD0 goggles. They just don't have HD0 in them.
Mm-hmm.
So
I hear the picture is nice and big.
Yeah, it is.
Like the screens are real good in those. I tried some on once and they looked good, but I didn't. I just tried them.
I think the screen might be like. It feels like the screen was like a little bit. The screen is a different size and it feels like more square.
Yeah, definitely.
So
it used to be goggles were like square, but starting with what was it? The HD zeros, which or no, I'm sorry. The what's the new Fat Shark or Walk Snail goggle called from Fat Shark? They're called the fucking HD, where they already had a goggle.
HDO2s.
HDO, yeah, okay, so it is HDO. So they already had a goggle named the fucking HDO and shit. I got those, and that's when the trend of goggles started with like the circle and a square thing. Whatever optics.
Dominator, the Dominators.
It wasn't Dominator. No. It's the
that's
same
what they are
name.
now.
Oh, is that what it is? It was Dominator.
The Walk Snail goggles.
Yeah.
The Walk Snail goggles are Dominators.
Oh, weird. I thought it was called HD0 or something, but anyway, so starting with those goggles, it had a little like it looked like you had a circle and a square because of the optics, whatever one they switched to, and then Orca had the same thing, but Orca's the one it bothered me less on those, and HD0 I believe has the same thing. It's just whatever optics people are using now. It's not just a little squarey thing. It's the round in the fucking square. You OGs out there don't know what I'm talking about. I sound like some rambling old man. But back in my day, it was just fucking square. You didn't have any fucking circles in your squares like you do now, but that was a fact.
I went to the website for Fat Shark, and it's the video. I remember you made fun of the video.
Yeah,
I don't remember what video it was you made, but you were like, "Oh, we got girls fly drones."
yeah.
Because that video is like this girl shows up, and it's like, "Who the fuck is this girl?" Women don't fly drones. There's only like 4. Like, they did it. They're just like, yeah.
I'm trying. One of their part of their site still had lorem ipsum or whatever text.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean, God, is it? Did they finally fix it?
Well, what video was it where you made fun of that commercial?
That was my the video for the Walk Snail system when it came out, I think. Yeah, God,
I was wrong about Walk Snail, or Walk Snail is unflyable.
God, I don't remember. It's one of the.
You have 3 of them. You have several.
Yeah, because why you thought I was clickbaiting the shit out of those motherfuckers, bro? It was a hot ass topic. I ain't above fucking riding on trends to get a couple views. I'm not gonna fucking say anything. Anyway, still have the Next Wave RF fucking module on here. I can't believe this. I cannot believe this. This is, tell me they're not asking money for this thing. Oh, the Fat Shark site is fucking bullshit. Bro, can I send you that link here? Look at this. This is that we used to use this. This was an actual VTX that we used to use to fucking fly drones on. It has dip switches to change your bands. If you want to do race band, both switches up. If you want to use immersion RC, race band was also H. No, wait, it was C. It was C band back then. Race band was C, not R. But if you want to use race band, 2 dip switches up. If you want to use immersion RC, Fat Shark band, 2 dip switches down. It was, oh god, are you looking at it? This thing was so fucking terrible. They still have it on their site. I hope this is just to be like a fucking museum, and they're not like, look at this cool ass fucking product that we can sell you for your money.
No, it's just probably old, and they probably don't update shit.
I'm getting trauma from looking at this site. FPV sucked back then. Everything was fucking horrible. You kids these days, you really got it pretty damn lucky. You got all this nice stuff to choose from. We had to fucking tie tin cans as props, and we had to use our dogs as batteries. It got rough for a while. Wait, yeah, they didn't use Dominator again. How are they gonna use Dominator again?
Aren't the goggles the Fat Shark Dominators and the Walk Snail goggles are exactly the same, aren't they? Was that the whole like everyone was confused about it?
So they Walk Snail partnered with Fat Shark to design the goggles. So the as far as I know, the Fat Shark engineers and stuff are the ones that designed the actual goggles, like that go on your head. And then Walk Snail did everything else, the Walk Snail system. They did all that. Fat Shark just designed the goggles. Fat Shark sold them in white, and Walk Snail sells them in gray. There's no difference besides that I know of.
Yeah, because the Walk Snail Avatar and then the Fat Shark Dominators are supposed to be the same goggles. Except for you can get the Dominators for $480.
I'm sure they sold 3 pairs total, so they're trying to move them shits.
Yeah.
I bet they're sitting on a fucking ton of those. I mean, so Rotor Riot, I hate how every episode we talk shit on them, but they're so easy. Rotor Riot, everybody was flying the Walk Snails when they came out. Everybody was dropping the affiliate links. Bubby was like, this is the greatest new system that's come out. They made all their videos. Oh my God, Walk Snail is so good. Not one person uses them now. Not one person in that organization still uses them.
No, they all do. They're all fucking using it.
Walk Snail?
They're all using it. They're throwing this shit out at fucking Rampage. Like they were throwing out Walk Snail VRXs at Rampage. Everyone there was using Walk Snail. Even fucking
why in all their videos they're using DJI?
Even fucking Vanover uses Walk Snail. Like all their videos, they're using Walk Snail.
All I saw was DJI. I mean, I obviously don't look at their fucking shit that often, but I know Cricket ain't using no fucking Walk Snail. Bardwell, he just uses everything. I feel like.
Well, Cricket's his own.
Yeah, Cricket isn't part of Rotor Riot, so that was an unfair.
He is. He isn't.
So who's actually part of it is like I would say, Bubby, Ladrib, Let's Fly RC.
Oh, I guess Bubby is using DJI.
Yeah, Bubby's using DJI. Vanover, guarantee you he doesn't use fucking Walk Snail when he's hanging out with Michael Bay. That motherfucker's using DJI all fucking day. You think Vanover uses Walk Snail on a fucking Transformer shoot, bro?
That was one time. That was like he did. Like that was like, and I don't want to talk shit, but that was one thing that he did. You know what I mean? That was one time.
He's done other gig work. He's done.
I know he's done other gig work, but working on a Michael Bay movie, that was right.
But I'm saying, you think he uses fucking Walk Snail when he does that shit? There's no way.
No, probably not. He's probably uses probably DJI for sure.
Yeah, it makes more sense. Use DJI for everything. I don't think Drew flies anymore, so I can't comment on that. Those fools definitely be using DJI, not fucking Walk Snail. I'm sure at Rampage they did because they wanted to sell it to you. But I don't care enough to fucking go watch any of that content to find out.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that it was fine. It
was fine. What was fine?
Rampage was fine.
So, I see you want to get away from that subject now. Oh, good. I'm glad everybody had fun. Legit, I'm glad everybody had fun there. If you're new to FPV, I'm going to say stay away from Rotor Riot.
Here's what I'm going to say.
Now you
anybody who thinks that anyone who's like gets upset that people talk shit about Rotor Riot, is like people talk shit about fucking Walmart and Target too. You know what I mean? They're just companies. It's a business. It's not a person. You know what I mean? It's not like who gives a shit, right? It's a company, and it's even worse that some of these companies are owned by more nefarious, larger companies. So,
Yeah.
they deserve to have criticism. It's just how it is. So,
100%. Also, they've done a lot of people dirty over the years. You know what I mean? So a lot of people have damn good reason to talk shit on them.
yeah,
But
exactly.
I try
So
not
like,
to fuck it. I try not to. It comes up like every episode, but they they just do such dumbass shit that it's hard to not call it out. You know?
well, I think the organization's changed a lot. It seems like based on what
Oh, a
I've seen.
lot. So
So
much. I used to be in that shit. I used to be on the fucking goddamn team in videos and stuff. You think I'd
yeah,
be on that shit back then if it was like this, man? Fuck no. I don't care
yeah.
about money enough, which we didn't get any in the first place, but I don't care about money enough to fucking do some dumb shit like that. Oh, podcast.
No, there was something that yeah, if you're new to drones,
I would stay away from Rotorite if you're new, man. There's a lot
don't
of
go buy like the
reputable companies
Rotorite
out
bind
there.
and flies. Don't buy all that shit. Find your own
Definitely
path.
not. I'm
Find
hard pressed to recommend a bind and fly over 3 inches anyway.
Yeah. One last thing I do want to mention, though, the radio, the goggles, bind and fly tiny whoop. But then once you want to grow up and get into like a bigger 5-inch drone, there's gonna be a million opinions about this stuff, right? There's very limited options when it comes to like goggles and radios. There's really, like, realistically, I would say there's really only 2 or 3 radios that you would want to get to fly. 3 brands anyway, like Radio Master, TBS, and I don't even know what else, if there is anything else at this point that I would say is.
I mean, there's like X Lights and their old Nirvana and Jumper Pros and shit. Stay away from those.
Yeah.
Stay away from the Jumpers, by the way, too. Those aren't that great.
The Jumper T Pro, that is basically just a Tango.
Yeah, that was one of the first Tango clones after the Tango came out. There's a couple of them. Like Radio Master still, they're decent, but they are still like a cloning company. They just use everybody else's fucking designs and shit. Like even the Boxer looks like a little Mamba.
Yeah, isn't the Jumper T though? Wasn't there another? Oh, DJI. It kind of looks like the DJI one too. DJI copied that.
DJI also.
Either way. There's realistically, if you go with that stuff, goggles, you have like a couple choices. Try not the I always hate buying like very dedicated specific ecosystems, so try not to do that. But then when it comes to actually building out your quad, there's a lot of options when it comes to electronics that go inside, and everyone's going to say something different. But I've been flying Happy Model. I've flown a couple different things, but the first thing I ever bought was Happy Model, and that flight controller, I'm pretty sure I still have it. Maybe, I don't know, it might have died, but it lasted almost a year.
Not bad. It's not bad.
My ESCs die, but also when you're crashing, if you're crashing a bunch, you're flying like freestyle and you're crashing a bunch, it's gonna just break because the gyro, those electronics can only take so much, like so many vibrations.
Yeah. It's a lot of sensitive electronics that were slamming pretty hard, so so expect things to break when you crash.
Yeah, so when someone says like, oh, I had this thing die after 2 months, but what they didn't tell you is that in that 2 months, they crashed their drone 300 times into concrete.
Yeah, their soldering looked like garbage to start with.
Yeah, their soldering was shit.
A bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, and they ripped fucking pads off. So like, don't buy into that bullshit. So Hobby Wing, for me personally, and the only reason I say that is because when you look at companies that produce this stuff, the companies that have the money to produce a lot of stuff, like Hobby Wing, make stuff for airplanes, cars, but they make every RC.
They're like VESC for cars and shit.
They make top quality products for every branch of radio of the RC hobby. So when it comes to just buying like a Hobby Wing flight controller stack, it just makes sense because that they have the understanding of how to like make electronics.
The Hobby Wing ESC is my go-to. I will not use any ESC except for the Hobby Wing ESC. I have had mixed results with the flight controller though, with the X-Rotor flight controller. I've had mixed results with that for sure. I'm currently flying one with no issue.
Yeah. Mine too. I had one come in. I think it's like over here, but it has I think the gyro's kind of fucked on it. I couldn't tell if it was the gyro or whatever because it would like twitch, and it was like brand new. So I don't know, but it happens
Yeah,
too. That just
it does.
happens. It could happen with any brand. So
I've gotten one DOA ESC in my career of buying from Hobbywing, and I order direct. I go to hobbywing.com and I order direct from them. They have fantastic customer service. I had one DOA and they just swapped me out for a new one. I had to send a picture of it and shit, but they just swapped
and
me
they
out.
ship pretty
So
fast, don't they? 'Cause
yeah,
they have a distribution center in the States, I think.
I don't use Amazon, so I don't have some weird like Prime shipping fucking mental thing. I feel like a lot of people that have Amazon Prime, if you tell them like 4-day shipping, 5-day, they're like, oh my god, fucking 5-day. We're like, bro, that's just fucking normal. Amazon Prime has
Yeah.
ruined you with this fucking next day ship. But yeah, normal shipping, like 5 days for Hobbywing. It ain't bad at all.
If you do priority mail, if you pay the extra, you pay like $10 for priority shipping. Also, it's like 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, priority's fast as fuck.
Also, I want to mention that Hobbywing, I think right now has a sale for their 40 amp ESCs are on sale because they're phasing them out to do the 45. So the 60 amp and the 40 amps are obsolete. So they upgraded to 65 and 45, which
Right.
it doesn't really make a difference. But
No,
they're
40
like,
amp is what I run, and it's plenty.
and they're fucking on sale right now for really cheap.
Hey, really? Yeah, good call.
So
fucking maybe pick up an extra flight controller.
I was thinking about getting a stack. But yeah, so those are on sale, I think. At the time of recording this, they have them. So yeah. And then also, like, I've heard people say stuff that T-Motor is good for everything pretty much. Anything T-Motor,
T-Motor
I'd
is
say.
pretty good. I've had some hit and miss with them, but you know, if you look at overall, they're good. They had a really good ESC flight controller for a while. Their motors are pretty decent.
Yeah, and Foxier as well, I've heard. It's like
Yeah,
pretty good.
Foxier is solid. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, so the 20 by 20 40 amp is $50 now, which is normally 80.
Yeah, I can't find the fucking. I fucking see this shit. Is it on just Hobbywing North America?
Yeah, and it's in the products under FPV racing.
Well, so I click on aircraft, then when I go down to FPV racing, it disappears. Oh god, because
Products.
never mind. It's some Windows. It's my Windows.
I don't need the ES. Oh, the flight controller is not even on sale. It's just $50 like it always is. But the whole stack
for the 20 amp. I see it at $84
for what?
for the whole stack. On Hobby.
Yeah, the whole stack. But next to it, there's a ESC that's $50.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And that's the 40 amp. But apparently the 45
yeah, Hobbywing is solid. Hobbywing is some of the most solid shit in FPV gear that you can get.
Apparently
and they come conformal coated, I believe.
Apparently the 45 is supposed to be the shit too.
Nice. I'm excited to try it.
It looks the same, but it's got 5 more amps.
Any other advice for fucking newbies?
Yeah.
If you're new to a year in, whatever. Also, if you've only flown like whoops, get a 5-inch. If you've only flown 5 inches, get a 3.5. The Grinderino drops, or the Grinderino's out now, where you can get fucking whatever else you want. But try different sizes. It's fun to try different quads.
Yeah, get the Grinderino, or get the Ledrib Skylight 3.5 inch.
Don't ever. That's not even a thing, but don't do that. I hear the small Yeet is good. What, really? He's a 3-inch?
I have one.
When did that come out?
It's been out for a long time, like almost 2 years. Probably.
It probably sucks.
I'm just kidding.
Then, but
I
heard the small Yeet's good, but the Grinderino is really the best 3.5 inch that's been made in years.
Yeah.
I don't really know that much else other micros, but I just see people posting their small Yeets.
Yeah, I think maybe next time we should review Joshua Barbell's frame.
Yeah, the
QAV.
He
reviewed your frame.
Wait. Yeah, he did. I heard it was good. It was a good review. I mean, I don't know. I can't think of anything negative to say about that frame, so I'm glad the review was positive.
I posted a comment. I said, "Don't trust the Bob Grinder propaganda. You can break the frame."
That's good. That's smart. Yeah, you can fucking break that. Wait, did you see? Did you see my Grinderino release video? You have a cameo. You have a cameo in that. Yeah,
I know.
I thought that was clever.
The biggest issue. Actually, I want to point this out. The biggest issue with this frame. This is my janked up fucking quad that I don't use. the weak points are right here, but I feel like that's the weak point in
Yep.
every frame is where the arms are. So like
When you
that
do
breaks
split
up.
deck, when you do
Yeah.
split deck, yeah.
But I think that this frame, just the way that the skinny parts stick out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think as a version 2, I would think of another way to do that.
The deck in the back, the mid plate.
No, it's So basically, the way the arms come out, there's like those little skinny things. I
Oh,
don't know
for
if there's
the
a
arms.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a way like on those plates to make it like. I don't know if it would make it weaker or what, but it feels like that part is the weakest part and it
So in
splits
the
a lot.
you're talking about the actual arm breaking, right?
No, the plate here. This plate delaminates all the time right here because
I've
it's
never
so
had that happen.
skinny.
You're just nope. That's your problem. That's never happened to anybody but you.
Okay, then
Nope.
all right. Well,
I've never had that happen, but I will. I will look into that for sure.
Oh, these are it breaks right here too.
Yeah, that part, the back is it
Yeah.
the mid? Yeah, that's where I broke in two. Both mine broke there. Definitely it deserved to break somewhere, but I'm like, something's gonna fucking break. It's whatever, really. But I will, if it starts becoming an issue, I'll definitely fucking beef it up.
No, but the thing is, the replacement parts for these, it's so like if you buy a whole frame for $80, right? That's fine. You have all the hardware.
Mhm.
And another thing I would recommend is the hardware is trash, like the screws and stuff.
Oh,
Like
really?
those black hardware, like most of the black hardware that you get
Mhm.
is just really soft. So
Yeah,
it's easy.
yeah.
I've stripped every single countersunk screw. So I would
Oh, no shit.
get those like the Apex frames have like the silver like screws,
Mhm.
and that frame's about
I've
just
had
the same price.
I've had some silver that were pretty malleable. Those screws. I haven't had an issue with mine yet. That I'll
I don't know. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. They're all pretty much the same type of screws. I don't know if it's the exact same hardware because I have a bunch of fucking screws I just order. So maybe I'm wrong. But
Yeah, I haven't had a problem because I know bad screws for sure. My motors used to come with bad screws, and it's super annoying because they strip out really easy. But I haven't had that issue with the Demibot.
yeah, I can't get any of these arms off right now because I usually just have to like drill a hole in it.
Yeah, I fucking hate. I used to have to do it with my motors all the time.
Yeah. So, yeah. Fuck.
Cool. So let's end the podcast on that. Grim hates the Demibot.
Even though I have 2 of them and don't fly anything else.
It's it flies really well. That's when I was like the back split deck is different than the straight bottom that I did, but I just love the way it flies so much fucking better.
Yeah, I mean the thing is the Apex. I was testing out the Apex at the same time, and it was breaking so much more and so much because there's so much pressure. The way that it's locked in, the Apex has so much pressure in the middle that it just like breaks. I think. Well, I think one final thing I want to say, like if you don't want anything to break, just don't crash and get good.
Yeah,
So
get good quick.
Yeah, get good quick.
I mean, but you can't get good if you ain't fucking pushing yourself. And you push yourself, you're gonna crash. So it's a cycle of violence that really just continues all throughout your career. Like I still
fly
break
every
mad
single
shit.
day. Like give up most responsibilities you have in your life to fly your drone and get good.
Bring it with you to work, fly on your lunch break, grab a grinderino. So when you go to the grocery store, be like, oh, one moment, honey, I got to take this call, and then just rip in the parking lot.
And then get a tiny whoop so that when you're inside the grocery store, you can fly around while your wife's getting
also
bread.
do that. Buy a gaming PC, buy a 3D printer, get a bigger monitor. You're going to have to get some OBS stuff so you can live stream. You're going to have to get a camera, lights. It's the whole thing,
You gotta have to
you're just buying a drone. You're buying into a lifestyle.
And you're going to have to get a vlogging camera. So then when you go fly, you can tell people where you're flying.
You don't have to use it. You can buy a vlogging camera and just put it on your shelf for 3 years too.
Yeah. And then just vlog with your GoPro or whatever on your drone.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't figure out all these goddamn controls on the camera. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of shit to learn.
Just crank just put on auto. Just put on auto. You're good.
7 years in, and I'm finally using manual controls on my shit. And I didn't learn cameras until I started doing photography. I've made vlogs for 7 fucking years, and I could not figure out how to do anything until I started doing photography.
Dude, I just finished a roll. I just finished a roll of film in my film camera that I've had for 2 years, like in the camera, and I need to go develop it because I don't know what the fuck's on it.
That's fun though. That's fun.
There was a guy at the studio I had who had a dark room, he had like a film studio, and he sold me. He had all these cameras, and I was like, I'm gonna buy one of these. So I bought a camera from him, and then I just never went back. So, but yeah, I need to get that developed.
All right, well, develop your film and let us all know next week what's on it.
For sure. Peace.
Was that it?
Is that it?